guys, it's April. I have had some things come up, so I am not going to be able to go live tonight. So I wanted to go ahead and do this flower tutorial for you guys. Plus, it's going to be kicking off all the files that I released for you guys this week. There are going to be several templates. However, every single one of them are going to go together exactly the same way. Nothing will change on that. Okay, so keep that in mind. You can make these small, you can make these large. And just so that I could fit this on camera for you guys, I just made mine small. And I believe I sized my group of petals. They're in a group in your file like this. And I sized that group of petals to right about 3.75 wide. And I think it was 5'2" something high. But in the file, it may show a different size. You can, again, these are meant to be giant flowers, but you can make them smaller, you can make them bigger, and you can mix and match. And you can get several looks out of one petal shape. So I'm going to show you that. I'm going to show you doing it with this type center and then with a bud type center. Either way that you want to do it. Okay, so lots of things that you can do. I do have, I believe last year or the year before, I did this, one similar to this in a patriotic red, white, and blue flower. So you can find that if you search flower, go to the flowers playlist on my channel. You'll find that one, and you can see where I did one full size. But this one, I just sized it down just to show you how they go together. Okay, so what I have changed since I did my other, because when you get bigger with these guys, it needs to get a sturdier backing on it, just so they don't flop around. And I changed the way I did my hangers as well. So this is going to represent cardboard. So take a cardboard box, whatever, after you've cut two of these. There's one in the file, but if you want to cover the front, if you want to cover the back to make it pretty too, you'll need to cut two. But if you're not concerned about the back and how that looks, the one in the file will suffice and be sufficient for what you need. But I cut this out of craft board just for the smaller ones, just to give it some strength, because it is going to be a larger flower. And once you get up to the larger ones, they really need a stiff backing. So I'm going to suggest that you take and recycle some of your cardboard boxes and just lay your template on, trace it, and then cut it so that you have something to glue this to. And you can even put some tabs on these if you want, little tabs, so that you can fold them over and hide the edge of your cardboard, but nobody's really going to see it, so unless they're the one hanging it. So super simple, super easy. And what we're going to start with first, and I've just got a scrap piece of ribbon here, and I am not going to glue one to the back of this. I just cut it just in case, but I'm not going to. I will just in case you do. If you're not going to use that backing piece, you can go ahead and put your ribbon on here. If you are, you'll need to go ahead and put your cover on there. And the reason I put one of these instead of gluing directly to the cardboard is simply because if your petals are a little bit sparse in areas, or somebody's looking at it from a different angle, say that they're not facing it front on, but they're looking at it from the side, there might be spaces and this brown would show through, and you don't want that. You want full coverage and color for your petals. So I would do it this way. And then over here, we're going to take, and we're just going to bring this ribbon, and you do not want this tight. Now you can use wire, you can use a pipe cleaner, you can use whatever you want. But this is just so it gives you something to grasp on. Thinner ribbon is even better, but I'm just using this as an example. I would not probably actually use this unless I was doing a giant one maybe. But just something to give you a hanger. But again, you don't want it to be tight. You want it to be fairly loose. And you just want to wrap it around. I'm just going to come this way with it, just to give it a little play. Okay, That way it has something to grasp onto. All right, and I'm just going to mark with my pencil. Like I said, a thinner ribbon will work even better. And I'm just going to take that and just going to do a little snip. I'm just notching out just a teeny tiny area. Just like that, okay? And then you can bring this in like so. And then I'm just going to tape that down. Of course, I want to get a little more even. So, I've lost my tape. There it is, right in front of me. So I'm just going to bring one side over and tape it. And just give that a little notch for it, just to kind of hold it in place for us. That's plenty. And I'm just going to hold that down and tape it. Because nobody's ever going to see that, okay? And then I'm just going to glue this right to the front to hide that. Okay, and now we've got our base, and then you've got something to hang it from, okay? Super easy, super simple. Again, you can use wire, use a thinner ribbon. Don't use something this thick, just something thin. You can do it closer to this edge. Depends on how you want to hang. You can do that, okay? Then you've got your 5 sets of petals, okay? And they are all different sizes. And I have cut this from Cricut's 85-pound cardstock. Now, when you go smaller, sometimes it's better to go with a 65-pound, just because you'll get better curl and you won't get cracking and stuff like that. But when you get into the giants, you really do want to use a heavier cardstock. So I'm just going to take a few of my extra large petals and I'm just going to curl them. And I'm using a dowel because the bigger you go, the bigger diameter you need for curling, okay? And I figured this dowel would be fine for what I'm doing here. When you're doing smaller flowers, of course, you're going to use different. I'm just curling it both ways just to kind of break that cardstock down just a little bit, okay? And then I am just going to kind of bend it over. And I may even use my glue bottle here just to give me some play in it. And again, you can shape your petals more as you're working with it. If you find that you want a little more curl, you can do that. So you're going to curl all of your pieces. And I'm curling multiples at once. You can curl them one at a time. Totally up to you. And you can see that I didn't come straight to the point with that. Nature isn't perfect. Make sure that you're not trying to keep them all perfect. You want them to differ just a little bit. And I'm just going to go in here and roll all of these. And again, if you're using the maximum 11.5-inch petal on your biggest one, then of course you're going to need a bigger diameter to roll with, okay? And all of these have their little splits in them, and we'll get to that in just a second. And these, I'm going to split these off to curl these. And just take your time. And I'm not doing a perfect shape on any of these because, like I said, doesn't matter. You can curl them any way you want to curl them. Different curls are going to give you different looks. So be adventurous. Curl them in different ways and play with it and see what you get. You may find that you like one curl better than the other. I kind of like that offset curl where it curls this way. So I've got that same size and I've curled them 2 different ways. And we're going to do that all the way down with all of these. Now, if you're going to do like a tight center instead of a center like this, I cut, I think, 8, maybe 10 extra of the small ones, and you're not going to roll those. You're not going to do, you want those to remain flat. You can shape them afterwards, but right now you want them to remain flat. Just totally curling. And I'm keeping my sizes separated. And I cut, in the file, you're only going to see 1 set of flowers, petals. I cut 8, 1 for each side. You may need more, you may need less. It's going to depend on how you arrange your petals into your flower, okay? And then I cut this center just out of some lighter pink paper so you guys could see it. But it's really pretty with your metallics and things like that. So now I have all of those curled. We're going to come in here and just so you can see how this is. What that split does is it's going to allow you to, I want you to watch that petal. And the more and the tighter I bring it in, the more it kind of stands up and curls in. Now, for your largest layer, you want a little bit up off of the work surface, okay? You want it to stand up a little bit, but you're not going to want it to stand up like this because your flower is going to look funky when it's on the wall. So with it flat like this, you want to just bring it in just a little bit, those tails. And like I said, it's totally up to you just how much cup you want in there. Just bring it in. I just want mine to slightly lift up off of the table, which will be your wall when you're hanging these. And we're going to put a little bit of glue right here. And we're going to cross that over and hold it. We're going to let that cool. All right, and you're going to do that for each one of your large petals. Get those others out of the way. And you want them, they don't have to be exact, guys, but you want them kind of close. You don't want one standing completely up while the other is laying down for the first row. Now, as you go in, you're going to bring them in tighter. So I'm just going to start with a couple of them, and we're just going to come out to this edge, and that's the way you're going to do it on your giant flowers. It's going to be exactly the same. So that's cool. So I'm just going to take that and I'm going to start at the top. I'm just going to place that petal down. I'll stick it down. My glue gun wants to fall over. This is a miniature giant. And again, we're just going to put a little dot of glue right here on this side. And we're just going to cross it just a teeny tiny bit to pop up. And I like to work opposite. Some people don't like to do that. They like to go all the way around. Totally do it the way you want. But I'm just going to go opposite of my other right there. All right. And then you can see that I'm turning it. Doesn't take a lot of glue to get that little bit of a cup and hold it, because a lot of your glue is going to go across the back, and that's going to hold both pieces where they need to be. Right. And pull all your glue hairs off as you go. Trust me, it will be easier than it is at the end. I'm just going to get a little bit of a cup on there. Go across the back. Stick that one down. We're just going to fill in from there. And I may speed up portions of this video just so you guys don't have to watch me do the exact same thing. But you see how I went in between those? That's all we're doing here. So if yours are spaced out, how far you come in on this board and how far you go out is going to depend on your spacing. And you can see I don't have a whole lot of space there, but that's okay. It's going to cover up later. But if you feel you need more petals, just cut a few extra before you get started, especially if you're making bunches of them. I would say cut several extras just in case you mess up, in case you have to pull one off because you don't like its placement, something like that. Then you'll know you'll have plenty. But I'm just going with the 8 for the tutorial. That one down, and then our last one. Giant flowers are super easy, guys. Now I'm going to be giving you several different files this week for supporters, and there will be 2 that I give to annual supporters only this week for their files. And guys, if you go looking in Design Space, there are just some petal shapes that you can find in there. And you can just enlarge them and then put a cut up the middle and use those. You'll be surprised at some of the things that you can make from the leaf shapes and things like that. Now, I did not cut any leaves for this. There are plenty of leaves in Design Space. You're just going to want to probably... What I would do is hold off on this bottom piece. Go ahead and glue and tape down your hanger. And then don't put this piece on yet. That way you can glue your leaves on if you want one. And then you can cover where you glued your leaves. But a lot of people just do the leaves separate and kind of tuck them in between their flowers instead of connecting them to the flowers. So that's an option as well. And again, if you look at it and you feel like you need more curl in an area, go ahead and just go in there and give it a little bit of a curl and play with it and fluff it up. You'll be able to do it at the end as well, but it may be a little bit more difficult. So if you see one that's just super flat and you don't like it, go ahead and curl it now. Go to your next shape, or next size, I should say. They're all the same shape. And this one we want to stand up just a teeny tiny bit more. Not a lot more, but a little bit more. So just kind of place it on there. And these are going to go in between the 2 petals. So you're going to go in between, and you want it to lift up just slightly more. Okay? And you can curl this back more here and still get different looks. So I kind of like that. Maybe I want to come a little bit higher. So, you know, just kind of judge it, and you can hold it if you need to, and just pop some glue in there. Just enough to hold it. You don't want a lot. You don't want it squishing out. You don't want to burn yourself. And we're going to put glue across the back of it. And again, we're just going to come in just slightly, but go between your 2 petals. And if you want to go further out and do a second layer of these, you can do that as well. It's your flower. Make it what you want it to be. We're just going to layer these up. Now these I went opposite. These I am layering around, one on top of the other. But you can do it the other way also. Just a slightly different look. Okay, so now we have those. Moving on to the next size. Same thing. You're just going to bring those in, and if you need to wiggle with it, play with it, go ahead. We're just going to bring these in, and we want these to stand up just a little bit higher than those did. Okay, and as you go smaller, that will happen as well. You won't, still don't have to bring them in too much. And we're going to go in between these petals now, okay? Which is going to be opposite of the ones that you did before, the first layer. And I forgot to say, guys, if you're using a pattern paper like a newsprint or a book print, and it's not the same on the other side, or it's white on the other side, these two layers you should probably curl opposite of what I did here. You want your curl to go the other way because we're going to be putting these in with our curl going inward. Okay, see how that... We're going to bring these to the curl inward on these two layers. So, again, if you're using a printed or a patterned, you'll want to curl it opposite of the other petals. And we want these to really stand up as we go in. So, you know, just check them. And we're going to go in between on each one of those. Okay, guys, that's really, really, really pretty full. I am going to add this extra one I have in there. It really only needed about 7 on that inside, but I'm going to add that extra one anyway. Now, I said you could cut extras of these. With the giant, you're probably going to need extra, but with this one getting smaller, I may not. I may just go ahead and just fill this, but I am going to show you how to do a bud. At this point, you can stop and start adding in this centerpiece if you want, to pop those down in there to finish off the inside of the flower with some glitter, anything like that. You could probably do that at this point, but I'm going to keep filling mine in. If you're going to do a rosebud, now would be the time to build your rosebud and put it in. So I'm going to set it to the side. I'm going to build the rosebud and show you what that would look like in there, and then I'm going to add these back in. So with the rosebud, you're going to take the ones that are flat, and you're going to get 2 of them, and you're just going to put some glue right here on the back and glue those 2 together. Now, if you want to just weld them in the file and do it that way, you can do that as well. It just takes more room to cut. Okay, and we're just going to kind of cup these towards the inside just to start giving it a little bit of curl. You don't want a lot, just a little bit, just to get it going. on both sides. And then you're just going to bring this in. Just kind of roll it in. Really, really tight. Okay. Just roll that up. Really good. Okay. Just going to give it a bend right there just to help me. You really don't need the split in these, but it's there, so unless you want to take it out and build yours that way, you can do that. Okay. So I want to get that really tight, and then I'm just going to put a dab of glue here, and we're going to bring that in. Just going to hold it while it sets. Okay. And then we're just going to get this guy in there. We're going to bring it right around. Okay. Just like this. And you're going to glue it on both sides. So you're just going to put a little glue on both sides. Oops. I dropped my glue gun. Well, I didn't drop it, it fell over. We're just going to hold that. So once you have that and it's dried, because you're going to have to hold it until that glue dries or it's going to spring loose on you, okay? And now we're going to take two more and we're going to glue those two together. Okay, we're just going to give that a second to set. And again, you're going to play with it. Just a little bit of curl. Don't need a lot. You just want to get it going. Okay. And we're just going to fold it up there. Doesn't have to be perfect. Now this one has a tip on it where your rose won't actually have a tip. You can trim that off if you don't like it on there, or you can actually use the patriotic file for this. It will work better, trust me, because it's made to do this. I have that a little bit too low. I glued them together. That's why I said, don't glue those together. Yeah, we're gonna, there we go. We're gonna do this singly. In the other one, I think I glue it together. But sometimes this works better, so that's the way we're gonna go with it. I want it to come up above, not much. So my tails on this one are a little bit, oh, wrong glue. A little bit short for making a rosebud with this file, but there's always another way around. So just make sure that it's coming up. Okay, and then we're going to do another one on the other side. But this is how you build a rosebud center with your flowers. Just giving it a bend. And then you're going to glue those, just kind of, my glue's not set. Let's give it a second to get set. You're just kind of twisting those in, and then you're just going to bring that petal and just put a teeny tiny drip of glue there. And bring that in and bring this one in over it. You want it to open up a little bit more. And if yours is too tall like mine is, you can come in here with your scissors and trim it down. Don't sweat it. Okay, it doesn't have to be the same shape as the other petals for this center. Nobody will ever know. And then you're going to place a little dab of glue there and bring this one in and loosen it out just a little bit. And I really need a fourth one of this. I think I'm gonna, there we go. Now I have 4. And that's why I say you want to hold it or it'll stretch back out. And then these you're going to bring in, and you want to lead them even further out. Let me keep holding that. It's hard to kind of get your finger in there. I have a chopstick here. Something to press against so you can get that glue to hold. Okay. So then we're going to start building on all 4 sides. I'm just going to bend those up, and I'm going to bring them in just like we were before. Okay, and we're going to get that to stand up. Okay, we want that one standing, kind of almost creating a corner there, and we're going to start building this all the way around. And you'll want to let those set, of course. So once you're going all the way around and you've got them set, then you can go in and you can curl these back a little bit. Once you have all 4 sides. And then you'll just want to take a little drop of glue down here in the corner and get that stuck. Okay. And then your next one, you're going to pull in here inside. Just like so. You're going to fold it down as well. You just want to tuck it kind of inside there. And then you'll glue this one to this. And just keep building it around, guys. Making it looser as you go. And then once you have that built, then you're just going to place it right to the inside of your flower. So I would say it's going to take maybe 8 or 10 of these. Because you want to do the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 for this. 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 8. I'm going to say 10. You'll want 10 of them, just so that it fills in this area, okay? And again, it's going to depend on your placement back here. But that is the way that you build your rosebud center, and you're just going to keep repeating these outer petals all the way around and curling those back as you go till you get it as big as it needs to be for the center of your flower. And everybody's is going to be different. Just trust me, it will be different for each and every one of you, because it's placement of all of these layers is what's going to determine how many you need. All right, so I'm going to go back and we're going to finish this because I want a different type center for mine. I don't want a rosebud center. Okay, I'm just going to keep repeating the steps we did before. And going in between my petals and bringing this further in. Oh, maybe. Just going to go with it. So you could do the rose center. I'm going to go with my original. And I'm going to take these and I'm going to pop dot these in. Just because I like some extra dimension on mine. But you can glue yours in. And I'm just using some foam dots here. And then putting the largest one down first. I thought I had 4 of these. There they are. Okay. Gonna do another pop dot, or foam dot, I should say, right in the center of that one. Gonna bring this one in. Just to give it that fullness. And there are several types of centers, guys. You can use all sorts of things. You can do like the pom-pom type centers, where you cut those cardstock, the slits in the cardstock, and then fold it over. Those are cute. And I am using the thick foam dots on this, not the thins. Super cute, super pretty. So, tons of things that you can do. Again, different centers. There's no way that I can fit all of the centers in on this. But you can play around, find the centers that you like, and use that, mix and match. You could do a whole wall with different colors, change out different color centers, different type centers, using one single shape flower, and you can do a whole wall, and each one will look totally different just by color and changing up the center. All right, and the way that you curl them. So do them as full or as fluffy as you want. Go lighter with it if you want. Instead of using an octagon, you can use a circle. But you've got your hanger back here. It's going to hang perfectly. And you'll get tons and tons of uses out of that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. And I will catch you in June. We will be going live on our Monday, I believe. I have not actually looked yet. It looks like the 7th, but I will be popping out files for you all this week, and all of next week I will be popping out some files for you guys, and then we will be going live again on the 7th. I'll catch you then. Please give a thumbs up, a like, and share.